Blood in video games is one of the simplest ways to make the player feel more grounded in the world, and it also isn't that hard of an effect to recreate. One common method, especially in source games, is using decals, which are basically a plane with a blood texture projected onto a surface, aligned with the surface normal so it looks like it's on the object, and you can see this technique in games like the Half-Life series and Gary's mod. Here's an example. In the game, the weapon fires a raycast forward to check if it hits something. This raycast basically acts as the bullet, similar to how hit scan weapons work in many video games. When it hits, a particle prefab spawns at the impact point, and each particle has a small collider allowing it to detect when it collides with a surface. Once that happens, we can use graphics.renderMesh indirect to render many copies of the same mesh efficiently. And the decal is then aligned with the surface normal, making it possible to place blood decals quickly while keeping performance costs low. In my project, for each object here, I'm using a render texture to basically function as a paint map, which lets the game blend many colors together within the decal. But there's an issue. Right where two different decals meet, they seem to not blend correctly, which isn't supposed to be happening. The way two colors or liquids mix together is a sort of gradual shift to the other color, which results in a nice smooth gradient. But here's the issue, we're using separate decals, and each decal doesn't know how its color relates to the decals around it. Because of that, the blood can end up looking static instead of fluid or, liquidy. I tried fixing this by making each decal find its nearest neighbor, and using a bit of shader magic to make it blur the edges around it so it hopefully mixes it, but it did come out with this weird fall off and chunky look, which I did not like. And another issue with this method is that some decals will be placed above each other, which is due to the raycast and slight frame time differences, which paired with a decal that has fall off, it can make it look very weird and not appealing. But another solution to that is to use two different layers, one layer that holds the paint and another layer that acts as a viewport to display the paint, essentially working like a clipping mask. But even if we do that, there's still another issue. Do you see it? Let's use this cube as an example. If we place a plane on the cube, we can move it around to any position we want. However, if we place it near an edge, the plane sticks out past the surface, and with a blood texture on it, it's probably going to look very strange and unrealistic. So a trick we can do is to cut off the plane when it gets to the edge. Well, actually I'm lying. I couldn't figure out how to do that, so I just made the paint part of the actual object itself. Due to the universe's grudge against me, it worked, but not fully, and it seems to be spreading way too much as there was an issue in the code which took a very long time to fix, but it looks a lot more like the paint in Splatoon, which I'm guessing is a good thing. But now you're asking, how do you put blood on objects with weird UVs? So sit down and I'm going to tell you. Using a sphere as an example, of course. It's impossible to unfold a sphere without stretching it. For this, a UV sphere works better, but like I said, it's impossible, so what do we do? Have you heard of triplanar mapping? Triplanar mapping is a way to put texture on a 3D object without needing to use UVs, but it can make your GPU struggle with rendering, which lowers FPS, which isn't optimal. But here's an example of triplanar mapping being used for this icosphere, which isn't ideal, and I should have used the UV sphere, as it wouldn't have left these weird corners that show the paint weirdly, but for this example, it works. And now, imagine the toll it takes on the GPU to do this effect. But honestly, it isn't that bad. I can just cool the materials when they aren't in view, and part of the process that takes the longest is figuring out where paint should actually go, so in a normal playthrough it should be fine. I think it turned out pretty good, but you can have a look for yourself. But wait, we can actually do a lot more with this, such as doing the opposite of the effect, essentially cleaning the paint or blood in any scene however we want. Here's another cool effect. We throw a rainbow hue overlaid on the paint and it gives off this oil look, which I think is the coolest effect here, really. This video took quite a bit of time to make, but I'm happy to get it out, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribing would help a lot. It supports this video and increases its reach, and helps me keep making more in the future. Please, subscribe.
He's a machine!